Okay, so this welcome to the technical call for MicroProfile. So if you haven't put your name on the agenda, the minutes, please add your name to the minute. So Edwin, can you share the, can you post the minutes link to the chat again, just in case
Sure.
or join late. I'm not seeing my message. Says David is not on the call, right? No. Okay, we will talk about this later. Basically, is last time we talked about the challenge TCK process. So we had a conversation. We're saying, okay, is we follow the Jakarta EE TCK challenging process. We open kind of the issue on the MicroProfile working group to track the TCK process. Basically, is the David is going to create a PR, bring in the TCK challenging process to the MicroProfile working group repo. I will touch base with David and offline to see remind David to do this PR. Are there any questions on this? Okay. If not, we just directly jump onto the release for the MicroProfile 5.0. So for the 5.0, I created the spreadsheet to track the process. So it's 5.0, and also this kind of list all the dependencies and etc. So basically, the good news is for the Jakarta 9.1 alignment, all the PRs has been created. So it's basically it's a kind of a few couple has been merged. So it's also we need to work. I work with a few of the spec to help them with the PR. So it's hopefully I think we really need to get this PR merged and start to create a release candidate. So then at the same time, and also the release plan need to be created. So it's I created a release plan for both config and for tolerance. So all the other spec need to do the similar thing. So basically, they need to create the release plan. So I put a link in here. The release plan. So it's for the release plan, I put the date is the 22nd of September. So it's since the basically the no functional change for this all these APIs and etc. So it's pretty much once this PR merged, we just create a RC, and then for the implementation directly is certify against the TCK to see whether the change are good or not. I know config, we did a prototype. I know the MicroProfile parent form, they are all good combination of the plugin versions and etc. So that's why it's kind of, we encourage all, not encourage, and we tell all the spec use a MicroProfile parent form. So all the other spec need to create the release plan. So one remaining thing, action needs to be done for the 5.0. So I know it's a 4.1, Edwin, you lead the 4.1, and I'll also take on some, I don't know whether you got a co-pilot or not. So 5.0, we also need someone to continue the co-pilot and hand over to the next. So is who is going to do that?
Yeah, I would like to take care of the 5.0 release process. I did 4.1, and I would like to take John and Emerson with me through the process so that Emerson can also learn how to do it. Yeah, that's that.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Edwin. So in this case, you will just create a 5.0 for this one, for the release plan and etc. And then is if we can like if we can quickly release in September and etc. I think is since the a lot of runtime will be able to use the Eclipse transformer to transform the implementation, but certainly we will try to prototype in OpenLiberty and to do the transform bit on the some of the specs and etc. So it's all I don't know whether other implementations want to volunteer to do the similar thing.
We are planning within Payara to get it in our Payara 6, but it would be by the end of the year. So it's not in the first coming months, but because first we do other work. So it might be in November, but it's not in the first coming months.
Right, okay. So we will see. I mean, when we release Ancestral, whoever implement first, we will use that implementation. But obviously, if we can release early, like if we can keep this schedule, and then I can see OpenLiberty as a good potential to do this. But if we delay, I'm not sure Liberty will be able to maybe kind of have to switch the other priority things. We have to wait and see. We see. So, but at the moment, I think we should basically the change is pretty much kind of the quite a manner. So yeah, we should do our release candidate as soon as possible. But for this week, I'm hoping at least to release candidate for metrics, and then the others like for tolerance, and hopefully Open API REST client, and then we can all do our release candidate, and then any like implementations can consume this release candidate and give it a go, and then we can like if it's all passed, and then we can like we can stage it out. So I don't know who, I mean, are there anybody from the spec? I'm just look at the people here. Okay, seems a lot of people involved in the spec are not on this call. I will communicate with them via mailing list and also via Git conversation. I will help them and with the release process and etc. So this is the one thing. So this is all been like tracked under here, and the overall issue is tracked in here. So it's in the MicroProfile. So you can see a config has a RC, yeah, like released. So directly track that. And once we have a RC, we put a checkpoint, and then add an I like I discussed offline regarding the tracking process. Also, there's a kind of the standalone specs. I also create some like all the issues for the standalone specs. However, their like timeline is not as strict as the MicroProfile 5.0. So they can either release early or later. This, I know GraphQL, they are deciding whether to do a release prior to the Jakarta 9.1 alignment. So they have not made a decision as yet. Also, I'm in the reactive streams operators and messaging. We will also need to have a conversation regarding when we plan to do this kind of alignment. And the context propagation, I know Nathan Rao has started some work already on the context propagation. For LRA, I'm not sure, maybe Rudy, you know. So what's the process for this one, for the standalone, for the LRA Jakarta 9.1 alignment?
I did not hear anything the last few weeks around it, but I assume at some point we will also switch that one, but I guess we need to discuss it with the project team.
Right, okay. So can you take this one to find out whether like maybe ask people to comment on this issue to see what's the
Yes,
potential.
it's good. I will do it.
Okay, thank you. I know Ed, you have some comments and etc. Do you want to say anything? And do you want to to recommend anything we can track it better or any suggestions and etc.?
Mostly I was just trying to figure out how it's being tracked, right? So in Helidon, we use several of these adjunct specs. So we would, as we're moving towards MicroProfile 5, we'll have to watch how these things come together.
Right, okay. So it's at the moment all tracked in here. So this two hasn't made any progress. This one is they have made a progress, and then the has done the release candidate, etc.
Right.
Is
Right.
yeah, GraphQL. I know Andy McCready is not on the call. I think he's talking with the spec team to figure out when to do it. Maybe it's towards the end of this year or maybe early next year.
Are we recommending that the spec teams engage using the transformer, or is it up to them?
Right. At the moment we are not recommending to use a transformer. It's a transformer we pretty much recommend is one of the option for implementation. For the spec is basically is that we discussed this in the past. We decided against it because
Okay.
people want to see directly Jakarta, is not seeing the source code, the Java X, and then the binary become Jakarta. So it's are there any other questions?
No, I just think you're doing a fine job so far. I've tried to monitor everything that's going on the MP5 release and see if I can help out wherever I can. So yeah, I'm looking, what's the word? I'm looking with you through the process.
Great, thank you. And then hopefully Edwin and then can take this from the base as a base, and then help with all these kind of release candidates creation and etc.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to make some room in my days to microprofile work next to my daily job. So whenever you need me, you can also Slack me. Please create this or that. Don't worry. I will try to do some work together with you. Don't have to do everything yourself. But just let me know.
Great, thank you. So that helps. I plan to take some days off this week. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So that's pretty much about MicroProfile 5.0 status. So basically the bottom line is that we need to create a release plan. And also is kind of the, at the moment it's trying to prototype to get the one the config implementation to pass, like I know we have got the small right config to pass the TCK. However, the solution has been need to be redone in a different form, and we need to some other implementation, and maybe come up and to see whether it can pass all the config TCKs for the Jakarta 9.1 alignment. And once that been done, maybe the OpenLiberty can gear up to do that. Once that been done, then it's kind of we could do the config, put the config in the ballot and etc. And also we'll be able to create all the IP logs. Once that IP log have been done and it will cover all the rest of the specifications because MicroProfile has only one project. So, so the rest of the spec will have a light process to follow. So that's been set. So the release plan, okay. So is Edwin got this? Are there any other things for the MicroProfile 5.0?
If I remember correctly, from one of the past sessions we had, there was something about the transformer being involved in the 5.0. Is that still accurate or necessary to discuss?
Yeah, so it's basically it's in the transformer will be used by the implementations. So it's the transformer is not used in the any APIs as brought it up. But like Open Liberty, we use the transformer for all of the specs. So basically, like for example, metrics, health, and etc. We just I'm quite keen to get some spec to do a RC release. And then is we just use a transformer to transform Open Liberty implementation and then run through all the TTKs. So that's kind of quite straightforward because we have done the similar thing for the Jakarta 9.1. So is we got all the infrastructure set up. Maybe Payara, I don't know, Rudy, are you doing the same? Do you also use a transformer?
To convert it initially, but we have a separate code base for everything related to Jakarta 9 because it will be Payara 6 for us, so it will have completely different product. So, but initially, yes, we use the transformer to transform the source code, but not after compilation.
Oh, okay. Thank
Emily,
you.
in the current version, where the old MicroProfile version is mixed with the Jakarta E9 version, that is in use for MicroProfile 2, right?
So you're seeing the old MicroProfile.
In Open Liberty, MicroProfile and Jakarta EE specifications can be used together, and you already switched from the JAX-X to the Jakarta namespace for the current version of Jakarta EE.
Right.
And there will be the switch to the dependencies for MicroProfile 5.0 in the future, because now it is used a 4.1 version or the.
Yeah. So basically, we build a 2 artifact. So it's
okay.
4.1 we use the 4.1 artifact, and 5.0 we use Jakarta style artifact. So basically, you feed in one source code and produce 2 things. Yeah. Okay. So that's for the whole thing about MicroProfile 5.0. Since we have some time, and also is kind of the last time we discussed creating new MP Spec. So it's so basically it's we said we make the sandbox as optional, and also I did a follow-up email on this one. So basically this step is optional, and then it's kind of we'll just use this step, follow the Eclipse Foundation spec process. Basically, is creation review and a release review. So it's I just want to have a quick run through to see whether people have any objections. If not, I will update our current wiki and document this. are there any objections? So basically saying, okay, this is optional. And then we follow the Eclipse Foundation spec process. Today is so quiet.
Yeah, I just signed in agreement.
Yeah.
Silence is consent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
70%. Okay.
Yeah. It was also on the mailing list, and there was also no comment. So I guess yes, that's
yeah.
That everyone is that everyone agrees with making that step optional.
Yeah, cool. So I will do this, and then yeah, we'll add another step. Is basically is about the follow the Eclipse Foundation spec process. Okay. By the way, I had a chat with I had a chat with the Eclipse Foundation regarding the win beaten regarding the spec process. So it's just in case people I mean didn't follow the Eclipse Foundation spec process or the notice and etc. So for all the service releases and from now on, all the service release or the macro release and etc. We don't need to go through the working group vote ballot. Can directly create a service release. This is kind of was asked on the mailing list. So I provided some like a reply and etc. just in case people are not aware of this. This is one thing. The other thing, the Eclipse Foundation currently trying to streamline the spec process. Basically, is give the working group more power and kind of the less strict kind of the process. So basically, is also introduce some basically is trying not to force working group with too many rules. So at the moment, we is leading an effort to modernize the spec process. So after the, I will send the email to the Google group. So basically is we create some PRs on the some process change update. So all of you can follow it up. If you have any questions and etc., and you can directly comment on his PR or log any issue and etc. So this is another thing. With that, I don't have anything else to say. Okay, are there any AOB? It's also I mean.
This is the time and place to discuss the Jakarta config, MicroProfile config topic, or it's still going on the mailing list, but
yeah,
I don't know if we need to discuss it here right now. I don't have it prepared, but it just occurred to me.
Right. Good question. We discussed. Okay, it might be a good time to give a quick summary, since Dimitri is is also here. So basically, it's MicroProfile. I mean, Jakarta config focus on some like technical discussions and goals and etc. And then also point out there are some issues with MicroProfile config. I mean, it's better to solve that issue in the MicroProfile config so that MicroProfile config can be moved to Jakarta like a config, and then directly it's evolve from there. So we had a call, one-off call 3 weeks ago. And then it's discuss all these issues. Basically, is we will I mean, in the future, Jakarta config and also macro config conversation, we will just come up with some proposals for some issues. So basically, it's we want to release MicroProfile Config 3.0 for the Jakarta 9.1. Can someone put a minute while I'm talking? Anyway, so it's Edwin, can you take a minute? So it's for the MicroProfile config. When we release the config 3.0 for the Jakarta 9.1 alignment, we will directly dive into the MicroProfile, maybe 4.0. I mean, because there will be probably the kind of backward incompatible changes. So we will settle on the issues and come up with the solutions so that the people comfortable with the API and also the design principle. So we will want to fix the issues in the MicroProfile config and then do a release and then move to Jakarta. So Dimitri, do you want to, I mean, did I capture that right? Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, in general, this is what's been done, what was done, right? So that's absolutely correct. I can just only repeat that. There are some suggestions. What should be changed? We do have a document with that suggestion listed, right? I guess that for some of them are issues in MicroProfile configs being created. We will continue discussion on how to address these issues. We're going to have the discussions as part of Jakarta config discussions, which is every Thursday at 3 p.m. Central European Time +1. Everybody is welcome to participate. We are at the point there we may actually start working on some PRs and looking at some code. Yeah, the general idea is that fix MP config. It may be a little bit of brutal fix. It may introduce quite a few backwards incompatible changes if everybody's agree with that. Get it released in MicroProfile, kind of last release before it's been moved to Jakarta. It's moved to Jakarta, initial release, and we're kind of done with the first version. So it doesn't mean that we cannot think about some other options of how make the config better. This is at least what Mark Struberg suggested, and it kind of makes sense that we analyze everything. We make decision about how to make config better, right? So maybe there is something that we missed. But we merge it to MicroProfile config first, and after that move it to Jakarta. I think we kind of all in the config group agreed that it's possible.
Yeah.
Is the core profile also applicable here to mention?
Core profile, it's a bit early to mention. We talked with Scott only a little bit. He asked what ETAs we have. We don't have any ETAs at the moment because we are kind of defining the scope of work currently. But if config manages to release before core profile release, then yes, config will be a part of core profile. If not, then config will be a part of the next version of core profile.
Yeah, so we did discuss what's in the core profile. I think we reached a conclusion. Jakarta config does not stop core profile to have 1.0 release. So I think the CDI light is, but config can be added later. that's pretty much what Dimitri said anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as Jakarta config.
Actually, with core profile, I think both options are okay, right? Because first option, config 1.0 becomes a member of a core profile, basically means that no other spec in core profile will rely on config because there is just not time to do it. And the next version of core profile will definitely, at least what we want it to have, right? To include some integrations with config. Right? If core profile won't go to if config won't go to core profile 1.0, it will be released anyway, and the other specs will have some time to integrate with config. And in the next version of core profile, all together with config integrations will be released. So that's the plan.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's again is a lot of people on the scene for 4G. I think is at least we are not duplicate config.
Yes.
And again, folks, if you would like to participate in config work, join our meetings, join our mailing list. More people there is better. Config is a core spec, and all the specs you are working on potentially may integrate with config. And it's important that you may just look what's going on, right? It's not necessary to actually provide some opinions or request some changes. Just be there to be aware of what's going on, right?
Yeah. So I think is all the current MicroProfile config folks already on the Jakarta config. So the earlier conversation in the CN4G regarding the committers and etc. I think that's pretty much covered in the Jakarta config. We don't. It's a kind of nobody was. I mean, built out. So all the people involved in the MicroProfile config. Also in the Jakarta config. So I think this is kind of, this is really important because this is will set a pretty much, I mean, example for how these two working group can work together, build a great ecosystem.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Edwin, thank you, Dimitri. That's great. So the next thing is also is kind of the give you a quick update on the open telemetry. So for the open telemetry is the folks is you meet up on Monday. So if anybody is Monday is 2 o'clock like British summertime, so 1 o'clock GMT is in the MicroProfile calendar. So please do join. And currently we are doing a kind of very serious prototype. And it would be great if you can join in and contribute. So this is kind of the open telemetry. I know we discussed in the past about GRPC. So since we have kind of agreed on this spec creation process, I will just put on the wiki. So Dimitri, do you think like somebody I know is I can't remember who was it, and I mean added a pretty good use case and etc. from Oracle. Do you think he would like to continue his work like on that GRPC for MicroProfile?
Yeah, his name is Alexiovich, and he's one of the coherence authors. So I'll ping him and find out what the plans are. As far as I know, nothing's changed. So yeah, I'll ping him.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So it will be great, like we can just move forward with some new initiative and etc. Yeah. So it's yeah, it's a, I think it's a kind of reactive conversation, and also it's a kind, if you want, you can just follow the formal process and move forward. And if we want to have set up meetings and etc., just ask on the mailing list and to see who else want to join that GRPC group. I know it's quite a few people also interested, and maybe it's kind of start a conversation and work together for a plan review or something like that.
Emily, I missed a little bit about open telemetry stuff. So you said that next week on the meeting there will be a presentation of the new API.
Oh no. So I said it's every Monday. The few people, four or five of us meet
I
together.
don't see it. That's why I'm asking. I don't see it on Monday's calendar, but I see it on Tuesday.
Oh
Basically.
yeah. Sorry. So Tuesday. So this is just a one-off. Moved to Tuesday. And then is normally that happen on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's next week will be on Monday. It normally on Monday, but this week is moved to Tuesday.
And
Okay.
there actually we can, is it at the stage of some draft proposal where we can take a look at the new API, or it's just at the discussion stage?
It's still discussion stage. So at the moment, we just got kind of the project. So at the moment is go using open tracing. So and then is we're trying to do the minimal migration thing, and then trying to get that the project to use open telemetry. So it's pretty much still in the prototype stage. It hasn't got written anything, any single API at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
There's a project by Bruno in its private repository, actually, where we set up a test bed and a basic configuration to start implement that. And we discussed today starting writing some documentation, painting some graph would be helpful for people to join.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you, Ian. Oh, by the way, the minutes also in the MicroProfile calendar, so you can see the minutes as well to see. Yeah. So
and
as
the repo is linked
one,
in the minutes.
I don't see minutes linked to minutes there.
Oh,
just see.
Sorry, it's my mistake on Tuesday. For somehow I probably I halfly copied that. If you click on Monday,
yeah, on Monday, yes, I see on Monday the doc. Okay,
yeah,
thanks, Emily.
I will fix it. I will fix it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so it's are there anything else? I think we are pretty much done. Okay, if not, this is not happen that often, so we can finish. You can have 16 minutes back. So it's okay. For the action, I will talk to David for the PR. Just create an issue there and then tag David in, and then I will yeah, I will edit the wiki with a new process, and then that's it. And then also I will chase up the spec team to create merge in the PR, review and merge in the PR, and then create RCs. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. And it's been a long day for a lot of us. For
yeah, say that again.
And I said, okay.
Thanks, bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.